Hello, I'm Greg, an artist, designer and printmaker here in Kent. Allow me to introduce you to the Studio Diaries of Circa1990. The Studio Diaries feature some of what I've been working on. Sit down, relax and join me as I experiment, explore and create in my design studio. So the opportunity has arisen for me to use a kiln and make some ceramics. So for the first time in a long time, I'm picking up clay again. What I've got here is some templates, which I've made, which I'm going to help me form a little clay pot. I'm basing this design off some packaging, which, if you haven't already guessed, will be a little tin of mackerel. And I'm going to build this up generally through carving, as that is my sort of go-to method of building. So I'm going to carve up, and then I don't know if I'm going to do bas relief or just the form, but it's just a bit of an experiment. So join me with my Circa1990 diaries as I come back to clay. Okay, so that gives me just enough space now to put this on, and now I'm going to carve out the middle. So I think the outside will distort if I try and carve it straight away. I don't want to go in too deep on the sides, but I want to take enough material away from the bottom so that it shouldn't smash during firing. So I'm just checking to see what the typical depth difference is. I have thought about constructing this as a slab at the bottom and then building up the walls. But I'm just a bit worried about joining something which I want to be fairly square, because I find that when you tend to build things up like that, it ends up getting a bit of a rounded edge at the bottom where the join is. I think that's about as deep as I want to cut, so I'm just going to smooth these out. Try and bring some more material around when it might have just gone a little bit too narrow at the edges. To make it easier to carve. This isn't any sort of special wire, this is literally just nylon thread, which I find exceptionally strong and as good as wire, if not better. So now I'm going to choose a tool which fits that profile of a sort of right angle. This might be the best one actually. I'll just take a little bit off and see how that goes. I'm going to take a set square, see if it's square, because it doesn't look it to me. So I just rolled out this, having now knocked all the air out of the scraps and levelled it. And now I'm going to make the lid. So I don't know whether to carve out of the middle of this, feels like the best choice, or to build it up from the outside. I think I'm going to try carving. So I don't want to go too deep here. It's just to give the illusion of a ring along here. And then I'm going to flip it, which is why it's on this blue paper, and build the base. Or rather the piece of clay which stops it moving about. Just going to smooth this out. So I might build that now before moving it, which might give it a little bit of time just to dry out a little bit. So the chances are when it shrinks, it probably won't end up going together after all. But it's always nice to try. So I think I'm going to add a texture to this fish, because I don't think I'm ever going to get it smooth. And I don't want it to just look like it's squidged on. So I don't know if that's exactly how I imagined it turning out in the end, but as an experimental first piece, I don't think it's that bad. So I'll leave these all to dry and come back to it, maybe for a little bit of sanding after it's dried. So it's now the end of the week, and this piece has now dried pretty much completely before it can be fired. And I just want to give it a bit of a sand, just to take off any of these rougher corners where it's folded and where I thought it would damage it when I was making it. Maybe just try and smooth it off around these rounded edges here. So I'm using 120 grit sandpaper. And that's rough enough to take off these edges. So where it's got these collections of clay, just in here, I'm able just to saw these out and define the ridges. It is very soft as a material to sand. But not so much that it takes away the form and the shape which I made around it. Let's see how that fits. Okay. So this I will save to one side, and at some point will be fired when I have enough to fill a kiln. And after that point I will bring it back and show you where it's at, and after the bisque fire I'll have to decide if I want to glaze it and fire it again. I hope you have enjoyed watching this Studio Diaries. This is my first adventure into clay after probably a little over a decade. I'll be doing a few more ceramic type projects at Circa 1990, so if you would like to subscribe and it's something that you'd be interested in seeing, then do consider subscribing or liking the video, and you will see other videos in the same vein over the coming weeks. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.